What if the most radical thing you could do right now, not someday, not when things settle, not when everything finally falls into place, but right now, in this exact moment, exactly as things are? What if the most radical thing you could do was simply to look at your life differently? Not to change it, not to fix it, not to push harder or want more, or finally figure out what is missing. Just to look at what is already here and to let yourself be moved by it. That is what this practice is for. That is what this hour together is about. You don't need to arrive at this with a particular feeling. You don't need to already be grateful or peaceful or in a good place. You can arrive exactly as you are. Tired, uncertain, mid-thought, mid-worry, carrying all of it. None of that disqualifies you from what is available here. All that is needed is your willingness to be present. And the fact that you are here tells me that willingness is already there. So let's begin where we always begin, with the breath. Notice it right now. Don't change it, just notice it. That quiet, continuous movement happening without your supervision. The inhale arriving on its own. The exhale releasing on its own. The rhythm that has never once stopped since the moment you entered this world. Now let it deepen, just slightly. Not a forced breath, just the next one, taken with a little more intention. Breathing in, feeling the chest expand, the belly soften outward. And breathing out, slowly, completely, without rushing the release. And now, before we go anywhere, let me offer you something that might seem small, but is actually the entire foundation of what we are about to explore. This moment, right now, this breath, it is already something. It is already more than nothing. And the practice of gratitude begins not with a list of things you have or want or are hoping for. It begins right here, with the recognition that something is present, that you are present. Thank you for this breath. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the air that fills me. Thank you for this moment, which does not ask me to be anywhere else. Let those words arrive without pressure, not as a performance, not as a technique, just as a genuine turning of attention toward what is real and present. Now I want to offer you something that many people find surprising when they first encounter it. Most of us believe that gratitude comes after, that it is a response, a feeling that arrives naturally when good things happen, when something you have been hoping for finally shows up, when the worry resolves, when the uncertainty clears, when the person you love comes back, or the health returns, or the financial pressure lifts. We wait for the evidence first, and then, when the evidence is in our hands, we allow ourselves to feel grateful. But there is another way to understand gratitude, and it is this. Gratitude is not a response to circumstances. Gratitude is a quality of attention. It is the practice of turning your awareness, deliberately, consciously, again and again, toward what is already present before you have decided whether it is enough. And when you practice that turning of attention, something changes. Not immediately, not dramatically, but something real shifts in the quality of how you experience your own life. Notice your body right now. Is there a softness beginning anywhere? In the chest, perhaps? In the shoulders? In the space around your eyes? Something that is not quite relaxation, not quite relief, but something in that direction. That is not coincidence. That is your nervous system beginning to recognize that it is being offered something different than its usual diet of scanning and worrying and measuring what is still missing. Let it receive this. Thank you for this body that holds me and carries me without asking for my gratitude. Thank you for the 10,000 things it does each day that I do not notice or acknowledge. Thank you for every breath I have taken in my life without awareness of its gift. Thank you for being alive in this body, in this moment. Feel that last one. Let it be more than a phrase. Let it land somewhere real. You are alive, in a body, on this earth, in this moment that will never come again. That is extraordinary. Not metaphorically extraordinary, actually extraordinary. The odds of your specific existence, the specific combination of everything that had to happen for you to be precisely here, right now, breathing, aware, capable of feeling, are beyond any calculation the mind can hold. And yet here you are, effortlessly, continuously, undeniably here. Now I want to speak about something that is perhaps more difficult, something that most gratitude practices skip past too quickly because it is uncomfortable and because it challenges a deeply held belief that many of us carry. The practice of being grateful for the hard things, not because the hard things were good, not because the pain was secretly a gift you should be thankful for, but because the hard things are also part of you. They are woven into who you have become, and rejecting them is, in a subtle way, rejecting yourself. Think of something from the recent past that was genuinely difficult, not the hardest thing you have ever faced, just something that was real and heavy and unwanted. A disappointment, a moment when you felt alone, a decision that cost you something, a loss, small or large. You do not need to feel grateful that it happened, but I want to invite you to consider, is there any part of who you are right now that could not have existed without that experience? Any depth of compassion, any clarity of values, any understanding of your own strength that arrived only because that difficult thing asked something of you that nothing easier could have asked. If so, then that part of you is also worth acknowledging, worth receiving, worth perhaps offering a quiet thank you to. Thank you for the difficult chapters that have given me depth. Thank you for the losses that showed me what is irreplaceable. Thank you for the hard seasons that proved I am more resilient than I knew. Thank you for everything that has shaped me into the person who is here right now. Stay with that. Let the body respond before the mind evaluates whether it agrees, because the body often knows the truth of this before the analytical mind is ready to accept it. The body knows what it has survived. The body knows the territory those experiences have covered. And when you offer gratitude to those experiences, even the unwanted ones, something in the body often relaxes that has been held tight for a very long time. We go deeper now. There is a layer beneath the gratitude for specific things, beneath the gratitude for the breath and the body and the difficult chapters and the good moments. There is a gratitude that has no object, that is not grateful for anything in particular, but is simply a quality of openness toward life itself. This is what the great contemplative traditions have pointed to across centuries and cultures. Not gratitude as a feeling you have sometimes when things go well, but gratitude as a fundamental orientation, a way of meeting the world, a practice of recognizing that existence itself, this strange, improbable, irreversible fact of being alive and aware, is something worth bowing toward. You may have touched this before, in a moment of unexpected beauty that stopped you, in the 3 seconds after waking on a morning when something felt, briefly, inexplicably right, in a moment of genuine connection with another person, when you felt, just for that moment, that you understood exactly why any of this exists. Those moments are not accidents. They are glimpses of this deeper layer, the layer that says, I do not need this to be different. I do not need more evidence or more certainty or more proof that things will work out. Right now, in this particular moment, I am here, and that is already extraordinary. Let yourself drop toward that layer now. Let the breath carry you in and slowly out. In again and slowly, completely out. What is present in your body right now as you rest in this space? Not what you are thinking, what you are feeling. Physically, somatically, in the actual tissue of you. Perhaps there is warmth somewhere. Perhaps a sense of weight, of being grounded, of belonging to the surface beneath you. Perhaps the simple, steady rhythm of your own heartbeat, which has never once stopped, not even in your sleep, not even in your grief, not even in your most frightened moments. Thank you for the presence that is always here beneath the noise. Thank you for the awareness that never leaves, even when I forget to return to it. Thank you for the quiet beneath the thought. Thank you for the stability that has held me through everything I thought might break me. Now I want to bring your attention to something that is easy to overlook: the gratitude for what is still forming. The gratitude for the things that have not yet arrived. The things you are hoping for, waiting for, reaching toward. Most of us approach the unlived future with a mixture of hope and anxiety. We want it to arrive. We are afraid it won't. We carry the tension of that gap between what is and what we are hoping for as a kind of chronic, low-level weight. But there is another way to hold the future, and it is this: with forward-facing gratitude, with the practice of giving thanks for what is still in motion, not from denial of uncertainty, but from a deep and practiced trust in the arc of your own life. You have already been brought through things you did not think you could navigate. You have already received things you did not know how to imagine before they arrived. Your life has already demonstrated again and again that there is a movement happening that is larger than your own planning and control. What if you let yourself be grateful for that movement, even before you can see where it is going? Thank you for what is still forming, even while I cannot see its shape. Thank you for the timing that is wiser than my own. Thank you for what is already in motion toward me, moving in ways I cannot track. Thank you for the surprises that are better than anything I could have planned. Thank you for the version of my life that is still becoming itself. Let each of those land, slowly, one at a time. Feel what they do in the body before moving to the next. There is a part of you that is waiting for a sign, a confirmation, a piece of evidence that things will be all right. Waiting for the uncertainty to resolve before you allow yourself to relax. Waiting for the proof before you allow yourself to trust. I understand that waiting. It makes sense. The mind wants certainty before it will release its grip. But I want to offer you something different. Not certainty, that is not something I can give you or anyone, but a different relationship with the uncertainty itself. What if the uncertainty, this not knowing, this in-between, this place where things have not yet resolved, what if that space is not empty? What if it is full? Full of the movement of things that are still becoming. Full of the intelligence of a process that is larger than what any single anxious moment can hold. What if the silence, when no answer comes, when the path is not yet visible, is not abandonment, but space? Space for something to form that needs quiet to grow. Thank you for the silence that teaches. Thank you for the waiting that is actually preparing. Thank you for the empty spaces that are making room for what is new. Thank you for everything that arrives in its own time, not mine. Stay with that. Let the body soften around it. The practice we are in right now is not passive. It is one of the most active things a person can do. To consciously redirect attention away from what is missing and toward what is present and forming. To choose again and again the perspective of trust over the perspective of lack. This is not naive. It does not require ignoring difficulty or pretending the hard things are not hard. It is simply the recognition that in any given moment, there are multiple true things present, and which ones you give your sustained attention to will determine the quality of your experience far more than the circumstances themselves. You have a choice right now about where to put your attention. And you are choosing in this moment to put it here, on presence, on the breath, on the quiet recognition that something real and good is already happening, even in the midst of everything that is still unresolved. Thank you for the ability to choose where my attention goes. Thank you for the moments when I remember to choose well. Thank you for the practice of returning again and again to what is true. Thank you for the patience I am building with myself. Before we arrive at that, I want to pause here, in this space between the gratitude for what has been and the gratitude for what is forming, and offer you something that may be the most quietly powerful part of this entire practice: the gratitude for connection. Not connection in the social sense, but connection in the deepest sense. The recognition that you are not a separate, isolated unit of consciousness navigating an indifferent universe. That the awareness looking out through your eyes is part of something continuous and alive, and deeply, fundamentally not alone. This is not a belief that requires a particular spiritual tradition. You can find it in physics, in ecology, in the simple, observable fact that you are made of materials that were forged in distant stars. That the oxygen you are breathing right now was produced by organisms that have been breathing and dying and breathing again for billions of years. That every person you have ever loved has changed the literal structure of your brain and therefore of who you are. You are woven into this world, not metaphorically, actually, materially, irreversibly woven in. And the world is woven into you. When you give thanks, you are not sending a signal outward into a void. You are acknowledging a relationship that has always already been present. Thank you for the connection that is always here, whether I remember it or not. Thank you for the invisible threads that join me to everything that has ever lived. Thank you for the love that has moved through me and shaped me and never left me. Thank you for the fact that I have never, in any moment of my life, been entirely alone. Let those words move through the places in you that have felt isolated, the places that have felt unseen, the places that have carried their particular grief quietly and without company. You are never as alone as those moments convinced you that you were. The aloneness was a perception, real in its feeling, but not accurate in its account of what was actually present. Something has always been present. Something continues to be present now. Feel the breath one more time. Let it be a reminder, not of a concept, but of a fact. This breath is a gift from every living thing that has ever processed oxygen on this earth. It has passed through forests and oceans and other lungs before it arrived in yours. It carries with it the entire living history of this planet, and you receive it effortlessly, continuously, without any effort or awareness on your part. Thank you for the gift of breath that reaches back further than any history I know. Thank you for the body that receives it without asking anything in return. Thank you for the living world that sustains me in ways I will never fully understand. Thank you for the mystery of it, that I exist at all, here, now, aware. Stay with that for a moment before we continue. Now let's go to a place that many gratitude practices skip entirely. You, the one who is doing all of this. The one who shows up, who tries, who cares, who feels, who continues. the one who has been the most loyal companion in your own life, present for every experience, every loss, every joy, every ordinary moment, and who has perhaps received the least amount of deliberate acknowledgement for all of that showing up. I want to invite you to direct the gratitude inward for a moment. Not self-congratulation, not performance, just genuine recognition of the person who has been living this life. Think about what you have carried this year, what you have navigated, the conversations that required courage, the mornings you got up anyway, the times you reached for others even when you were depleted, the times you were kind when kindness was the harder choice. You did those things, not perfectly, not without stumbling, but you did them. Thank you to the part of me that keeps showing up. Thank you to the part of me that is still here, still trying, still willing. Thank you to the part of me that has carried things I could not yet put down. Thank you to the part of me that is learning, slowly but genuinely, to trust myself. Feel what it is like to offer that acknowledgement inward. For many people, this is the hardest direction to send gratitude. Not outward toward others, or upward toward something larger, but inward toward themselves. There is often a part that resists it, that says, "But I haven't done enough. But I could have done it better. But there are so many ways I am still falling short." If that voice is present, you don't need to argue with it. You don't need to defeat it or silence it. Just let it be there while also letting this be true. You are here. You have been here through all of it. And that is something. Thank you for being patient with myself through the learning. Thank you for not giving up, even when giving up would have been easier. Thank you for the courage that is quietly present in me, even when I cannot feel it. Thank you for being myself, not someone else's version of me, but myself. Now I want to bring these threads together into something that can stay with you after this practice ends. Gratitude, the kind we have been practicing here. Not the performed kind, but the genuine, embodied, eyes open kind, is not a tool for getting what you want. It is not a technique for attracting better circumstances. It is something far more fundamental than that. It is a practice of seeing clearly, of removing the film of familiarity and lack that coats ordinary experience, and perceiving, even briefly, the genuine strangeness and richness of being alive at all. When you practice this regularly, not just in guided sessions, but in ordinary moments, a pause before a meal, a breath before sleep, a second of real attention on a face you love, the texture of your life begins to change. Not because the circumstances change, but because your capacity to receive what is already present grows. You begin to notice more, to miss less, to be less elsewhere and more here. And here, this moment, this breath, this ordinary, unremarkable Tuesday, this body, this particular corner of this particular life. Here is where everything real has always been happening. Let this arrive now, one final time, without hurry. Thank you for this life, exactly as it is. Thank you for the ordinary beauty I have been walking past. Thank you for the depth that lives beneath the surface of everything. Thank you for the quiet grace that has been present all along, waiting to be noticed. Thank you for this moment, which will never come again and which is already complete. Stay here for as long as you want to. There is nothing else you need to arrive at, nothing to accomplish before this hour is finished. Just this: the breath, the body, the quiet awareness that is always present when you return to it. And when you are ready to begin moving back into the world, carry something with you. Not a resolution or a plan, just this quality of attention, slightly more open, slightly more available to what is already here, slightly less convinced that what matters is always somewhere ahead of where you are. You are here, and here has always been enough. If this hour reached something real in you, if even one moment of genuine gratitude arrived, however quietly, write in the comments, "Thank you." Not for me, not for the channel, for yourself, as a simple declaration that you were here and that you allowed something to be received. Save this, return to it, not because something needs fixing, but because the practice of coming back to this quality of attention is one of the most nourishing things available to any of us. Until next time, take care of yourself, and thank you, truly, for being here.